The scenes with Jason and Dante were pure gold. Mature, composed, and fantastic with the kids. It's exactly what I expected. Meanwhile, Drew, oh, he's unbearable. Scout deserves so much better. And as for Danny, absolutely not. If I were Jason, I wouldn't let Drew raise a cactus, let alone my son. Dante, on the other hand, he'd be my first choice every time. And let's talk about that moment when Jason decided to move back to the Quartermain mansion with Danny. Cue the waterworks. The sheer joy on Danny's face as the idea of Jason settling down, instant heart melter. Speaking of the Quartermain mansion, if Monica passes away, heaven forbid, she's totally leaving the house to Jason. That would definitely stir the pot. Meanwhile, Holly is up to her old tricks. Working for the WSB, tampering with DNA tests, classic. Brennan pulled strings to get that test done in a WSB lab at Robert's request, and let's be real, it was definitely tampered with. If Sasha turns out to be pregnant, fingers crossed it's Cody's. Someone needs to get another DNA test, stat. Brennan, if you have a conscience, now's the time to show it. Sasha has earned some happiness, don't you think? Now let's switch gears to Michael, who was on fire in that scene with Curtis. This darker, more ruthless side of him. Love it. He's laser-focused on bringing Drew down, and it's deliciously entertaining. Curtis, by the way, already knows about Drew kissing Willow. I'm sure Drew spilled the beans to him. Meanwhile, Jason moving into the Q mansion. Perfection. That hug between Jason and Danny was everything. I can't wait for the inevitable shenanigans with Tracy, Lois, and the gang. And finally, I am not buying the claim that Sasha is Robert's daughter. Holly's a pro at deception, and I bet anything she tampered with the results. She probably bribed someone with a diamond or two to twist the truth. Honestly, I wouldn't put it past her to be lying about being Sasha's mom entirely. Cody and Sasha need to get their own test done pronto. Holly should have stayed in Africa because all this scheming, it's bound to blow up in Robert's face. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, Messy Syrup. It's me, Abby, here. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Keep watching, so let's dive into today's video. Well, of course Willow's going to end up pregnant. I've been calling it for ages. Still, it's nice to see Jason and Dante actually stepping up for the kids. Good teamwork, guys. Can't wait for Elva to, hopefully, wiggle her way out of this mess. We all know it was an accident, but honestly, I'm so over Kristina skating by unscathed every single time. And Molly? Girl, stop pretending you didn't see this coming. Listen to your dad for once. And then, surprise. Nothing outs a cheater like a little oopsie moment. We all knew there'd be a baby bombshell. We just didn't know whose. Would Sasha and Michael hook up after a night of drowning their sorrows? Or was Willow going to end up pregnant with Drew's baby after their little rendezvous in the nursery? Well, congrats to Sasha for taking home the Oops trophy this time. Runner-up, Willow. Aw, wouldn't it be adorable if they both had babies at the same time? Next, cue the inevitable. Someone finding Sasha's pregnancy test kit, or better yet, the discarded results stick. Classic. As for today's episode, Jason dropped a hint to Dante that staying at the Quartermain mansion is just temporary for him and Danny. Translation: they'll probably be back at the penthouse before Christmas. It's just as well because the longer Danny and Scout stay cozy with Rocco, the harder it'll be when they all have to go their separate ways. Rip that band-aid off now, folks. That said, I have to address the Trina debate. It drives me nuts how people say Trina's annoying, always angry, or constantly complaining. Meanwhile, characters like Jocelyn, Carly, and Ava pull the exact same moves, and suddenly it's empowerment and standing up for themselves. Double standard much? I wonder why that might be. Let's take a page from the citizens of Port Charles and maybe try accepting everyone? Just my 2 cents as a black male fan of Trina and General Hospital. Back to the Quartermain storyline. I'm excited for Christmas this year. Just picture Jason sitting around the Quartermain tree in pajamas with Danny, Dante, and the rest of the family. It's going to be a massive, chaotic, classic Quartermain holiday, and I'm here for it. Now, as for Trina's mom, she's been right behind her on my least favorite list since the day she arrived. Curtis, wake up. Get out of that mess of a relationship already. Writers, let's make it happen. Trina, if you're going to dance around with headphones, maybe lock the door next time? Just a thought. That said, every scene with Gio and Trina has been adorable. They're testing Trina's chemistry with different characters, clearly. And while Gio works well with her, I'm leaning toward Kai. Kai's whole annoying her into liking him vibe feels like the slow burn dynamic she had with Spencer, and it could really go somewhere. Now, about the Quartermain mansion. This living arrangement isn't going to last long for Jason and Danny. You can already see the cracks forming. Once Lulu comes back, Danny's bound to start resenting Rocco, especially as he and Scout grow more attached to Rocco and Dante. The longer this goes on, the harder it'll be when they all have to split up. Plus, Jason looks like he's barely holding it together living under the Quartermain roof. Danny's a smart kid. He knows this setup is temporary. Hopefully, by Christmas, Jason and Danny will be back at the penthouse where they belong. Now, Drew, where do we start? He's out here trying to paint Jason as an abusive father while playing the victim for what he did to Michael. Meanwhile, Sonny continues to prove why he's the MVP, urging Jason to fight for his son. Drew's a creep, a homewrecker, and honestly, just exhausting. As for Ava, she's not going to prison. My money's on Kristina snapping and blowing up in some dramatic way that exonerates Ava but lands Kristina in a psychiatric facility instead. Can't say I'd mind that turn of events. As of November 2024, Chad Duell isn't leaving General Hospital permanently, thankfully. He's just taking a temporary break due to a scheduling conflict, with Robert Adamson stepping in as Michael Corinthos for a short stint. But still, this news hurts so much. First Kelly Monaco Sam, and now Chad Duell. It feels like all the fan favorites are disappearing one by one. Meanwhile, there are actors on this show who couldn't act their way out of a paper bag, but somehow managed to stick around. It's so frustrating. Speaking of frustration, let's talk about Michael. He's such a hypocrite. He's blackmailed Nina and pulled his fair share of shady moves, yet he acts holier than thou. What heroic deeds can you really claim? Drew went to jail for Carly, and Drew saved Willow's life. Meanwhile, Michael just keeps grasping for control. Whether it's trying to take Scout's legacy or playing tug-of-war with Sasha's future. He needs to figure out what he wants and start cleaning up his own messes. Half the time, he's acting exactly like AJ. On the flip side, Jason has long been criticized for his lack of growth and emotion. I've always felt that Steve Burton is a better actor than the material he's been given, which so often boils down to being Carly and Sonny's robotic enforcer. But now, with Jason moving back into the Quartermain mansion to be closer to Danny, the writers finally have a golden opportunity to break him out of that mold. For once, I'm excited to see how this plays out. Let's just hope the writers don't drop the ball on this one. The potential is there. Please, don't waste it. The Quartermain Thanksgiving. This year's turkey dinner was nothing short of a miracle. Sasha, yes, Sasha, managed to pull off making an actual full meal, all while Willow and Nina were busy playing food critics in the kitchen. But plot twist, right when it's time to sit down and dig in, all three of them get hit with the same wave of nausea, pregnancy sickness. And guess what? It's a three-way pregnancy, ladies and gentlemen. All three of them knocked up by Drew in the most ridiculous way possible. One of Drew's swimmers somehow managed to jump from Willow and land in Sasha, though they're all under the hilarious assumption that Michael's the father of Sasha's baby because, well, she hasn't actually done the deed with Drew yet. Oh, the miracle of modern science. What a Thanksgiving, right? But just wait. I'm betting this will be the day Carly figures out Drew's been getting cozy with her daughter-in-law. Can't wait for that drama. Now, in the midst of all this family chaos, there's Maxie. She's been living the coma life, but guess what? She woke up to find two new friends, Brooklyn and Sasha, her cousin by the way, and now she's crashing at Maxie's place. And Dante? Oh, Dante's been busy falling for Sam while in his blissful ignorance. See, he never got the memo that Lulu and the teacher broke up, and that Lulu's still got the hots for Dante. Meanwhile, Rocco and Charlotte are running around as besties. Oh, and don't forget, Charlotte's been shot by Anna and is now on the lam with her dad. Good times. Let's not forget Laura. She's still married to Kevin, because why not? And in the midst of all this, she adopted her nephew. Your brother's in jail, the other one's free, and Uncle Cyrus? Well, he's converted. Oh, and Martin? New personality, no accent, like a complete reset button on his life. Your dad? Presumed dead. His lovely wife Tracy is in Port Charles, playing babysitter to Rocco on the regular. So Lulu, with all this delightful mess, any PTSD shenanigans you feel like jumping into. Because Nina did go a little off the rails herself. But wait, there's another child in the mix of this whole Sam dies, Lulu Lives drama, Charlotte. The one who's probably going to return and crash with Laura, because, well, her dad's a fugitive and her mom's going to need a lot of rehab. But the real question is, will Rocco actually want to live with his sister? Or is he just way more interested in hanging out with Danny and Scout? I mean, I don't know if Rocco and Charlotte have this deep sibling bond, but who can say? I wasn't watching when either of Lulu's kids were born or when Lulu was actually a character. So don't ask me about their emotional connection. And speaking of emotional connections, let's talk about the Quartermain mansion. Sure, we don't know the exact number of rooms in that place. It's probably somewhere in the dozens, with bedrooms, living rooms, dining rooms, studies, and who knows what else. There are probably rooms in there that we haven't even seen yet, because, you know, it's a soap opera mansion. Oh, and here's a fun one. Everyone's been whining that Drew doesn't spend time with Scout or listen to her. But hold up. Scout made it crystal clear the other day that she told her dad her living arrangements, and Drew, in all his wisdom, assured her he'd just zip between Washington and Port Charles like it's no big deal. Did we see this conversation? Nope. But just because we didn't doesn't mean it didn't happen. Everything isn't meant to be spoon-fed to us in real-time on-screen people. And let's not forget, we didn't exactly get an autopsy for Sam. So who knows? Maybe Sam's not even really dead. But then again, this is a soap opera, and if there's one thing we've learned, it's that anything can happen. So let your imagination run wild, folks, because the show sure is. Here's the thing, Kristina knows what happened was an accident. We saw her flashback, so there's no doubt about it. But now she's on this weird vendetta to make Ava pay for things she's done in the past. Like, newsflash Kristina, Ava didn't burn down your entire life. But no, Kristina's gone full-on manipulative mode, especially with Molly. Now she's using the Our Baby card. This is a mess I didn't sign up for. Honestly, in this twisted little drama, I just want Rick to win, just for the chaos. Oh, and remember when we thought Robin was dead because of that lab fire? Spoiler alert, she wasn't. She was kidnapped and swapped for a Jane Doe. So who's to say the same thing couldn't happen with Sam? Sure, she's dead, but anything is possible in soap opera land. Don't be shocked if she comes back next week, alive and kicking. Now, let's talk about Cyrus. The guy hates Jason and Sunny, like truly, deeply despises them. He's tried to kill both of them several times and still failed miserably. But here's a theory. Maybe he finally succeeded with Sam, just to get back at Jason. That whole religious conversion thing? Oh, that's just a performance. A big dramatic act. Don't buy it for a second. Speaking of random thoughts, One of the things I do when I can't sleep is think about ridiculously stupid stuff. Last night, I was deep in thought about how many bedrooms the Quartermain mansion would actually need. My conclusion? At least 18. Because, let's be real, that place is a mansion and everyone needs a room, whether they're living there or just temporarily visiting. I'm pretty sure they even have rooms for the furniture that never gets used. And speaking of relationships, I'm actually loving the Jason and Dante dynamic right now. Remember when Dante was all jealous of Jason because of the whole Sunny thing? Yeah, well, Jason saved his life, so Dante's feelings have done a 180. Now they're like besties. Who saw that coming? Oh, and let's talk about the real scandal. Has it really gotten so bad over at General Hospital that even the props and sets are getting cut? Like now every storyline is just everyone moves into the Quartermain's house because, it's the only set left standing. I mean, we're talking about a mansion and the hospital, with a sprinkle of the Metro Court and Bobby's Coffee Warehouse for variety. They seriously can't afford anything else at this point. Wait, Trina's in an intro art class? Yeah, I'm having a really hard time suspending my disbelief with this Trina or Kai storyline. Like, we're talking about a girl who's been in college for a few years, got accepted to a fancy internship in Paris, but she's still out here taking intro to art history. Really? That doesn't add up. I get the chemistry between Trina and Kai. I can see it. But come on, they could have picked a more believable class for this whole thing. Trina and Kai being in the same level of art class is just, no. If they wanted to test the chemistry, it would have made way more sense if Kai needed a tutor to pass an intro to art class to keep his football scholarship. Then you could have Trina tutoring him while she's catching up on credits after dropping out when Spencer died. See? A little bit more logic. Trina's working hard, it's personal, and the stakes are higher. And honestly, the amount of work on that project makes it seem like we're dealing with some advanced art class, not an intro-level one. I mean, they had to pick out a list of books to read and work independently on projects in teams. I don't remember basic art history being that intense. That coursework sounds like something way beyond an introductory class. Like we're talking a higher level course, which makes zero sense for Kai. Sorry, but this whole setup just doesn't hold up. So let's talk about Drew. Not only does this guy have the nerve to be mad at Jason, as if his anger isn't completely out of left field and utterly unjustified. I mean, even if Drew only thinks Jason knows about the kiss, come on. But hold up, he has the audacity to get mad at Carly for always taking Jason's side, even though Jason literally ruined her son's marriage. Like Drew, maybe take a seat because that level of hypocrisy is impressive. And don't even get me started on the custody thing. I get why Sam did what she did. Jason was presumed dead, and she wanted the kids to stay together. But now, the fact that Drew and Alexis are trying to make Jason out to be the bad guy for saying it should be up to Danny, who he stays with, just makes my stomach churn. Let's be real here. Drew has been no father figure to Danny, and now he's packing up to move to DC. If he drags the kids with him, they'll be separated from literally everyone, including Rocco. And if he leaves them at the Q's, they're still not in his care. What a stellar plan. Oh, and let's not forget, Drew has barely raised Scout and is actively ruining Willow and Michael's kids' lives. He doesn't care who they end up with. If Michael dumps Willow or Willow dumps Michael, he's just like, meh, whatever. And somehow, Drew tells Scout she can stay at the Quartermain mansion while he commutes from Washington on the weekends. Oh, so he's a part-time dad and part-time congressman now? I mean, sure, why not just add superhero to the list while you're at it? The guy's got everything figured out. But hey, at least it looks like Jason and Dante might be around to somewhat parent the kids. You know, when they're not off catching bad guys or being bad guys themselves. Honestly, both of them better update their wills ASAP, because if things keep going the way they are, it's gonna get messy. So Cameron Matheson, I thought I read somewhere, maybe I misinterpreted it, who knows, that he might be leaving General Hospital to focus more on his Hallmark Christmas movies. I mean, at this point, it feels like the only thing left for Drew to do is star in a Christmas miracle movie where everything magically gets better. Look, CM is the only Drew I know, and I get it. He's not everyone's cup of tea. But honestly, the way they're writing him now, I don't know how any actor could make him even remotely likable. I'm not exaggerating when I say that his scenes with Willow are so revolting, they could be considered therapeutic. They actually jump-started my weight loss. Like, I literally lose my appetite every time they're on screen. Is that the kind of impact Drew's supposed to have? But seriously, with all this talk of him moving to Washington, does that mean CM is actually leaving the show? Because if they're really shipping Drew off to DC, I'm pretty sure that means he's packing his bags for good. The Billy Miller Drew. That guy was admirable, honorable, good guy, all that jazz. But now, this version of Drew is like a dirty, rotten scoundrel. Sure, the actor can only work with what the writers give him, but let's be real, the casting choice here? Not a home run, more like a swing and a miss. Honestly, I'm kind of hoping CM is leaving because I just can't stand Drew anymore. He used to be this upstanding guy, but the writers have somehow turned him into a skeevy mess that I'm no longer interested in watching. He's got zero positive impact on the show now, and frankly, I'm over it. Drop your thoughts in the comment section below. Do you agree or disagree? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more updates. Your opinions matter, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you.